My name's Heidi Lund, and this is my story of hope. I'm very outgoing, not scared to say what's on my mind, and I usually get told everyone can hear my laugh from like a mile away. The thing I'm most proud of in my life is my ability to advocate for others, to use my voice and my experience in a way that not only can I get paid for it, but it also helps create change within the system. I love House of Hope. I'm sure. I am the Community Outreach and Housing Supervisor. I love community engagement. And then I also do our housing. So I opened our first sober living, which is Amaryllis Recovery House. I love working with clients, so this is my niche. And I want them to understand their potential. Every day I walk into work and I feel very humbled to be here. And just watching the other women fight the process and then accept the process is very rewarding. It's pretty awesome that my whole experience as a child and as a parent with my kids when they were younger has gotten me to where I am today. My dad was killed when I was 3 years old. When he passed away, my mom turned to drugs to cope with his death. That's kind of just how I grew up, in addiction with my mom. As a kid, it was very normal to see large amounts of meth around the house. I was a full-blown meth addict by the time I was 12. My mom ended up going to prison when I was 14. I moved out on my own after that, selling drugs, running the streets. Somebody told me about a doctor that you could make a lot of money from. If you paid him $120, he'd give you prescriptions that you wanted. And so when I started taking those, it immediately took over me. Sounds crazy, but I felt like I had a lot of control over the meth. I didn't with pain pills. That's when my whole life was just in complete shambles pretty quick. I had my daughter when I was 23. My OBGYN was prescribing me pain pills. When my daughter was 2 years old, I had my son. And when my son was 11 months old, he got a hold of meth. And it literally almost killed him. He was taken up to primary children's, and that's when DCFS got involved in my life. I'd never had anything like that in my life, like all these people telling me what I needed to do or what I had to do. I grew up with no kind of structure. Now I had to answer to this whole other system. Finally, I was able to check into detox, and from there I was picked up by House of Hope. I had all these commitments to myself and to my kids that we were gonna have this different life and everything like that, and I was sober for about 6 months, and then I had an abscess tooth. And I remember the exact time that I relapsed and just realized how big of a drug addict I was. It was 1 o'clock in the morning, my face is out to here, and I called my mom. And she's like, "Oh, I have a pain pill." And immediately, without even thinking twice, I immediately went to, how am I gonna get more pain pills? It was before I even took the pain pill. That day, my life changed. I went really hard. I started committing a lot of crimes. I racked up 12 felonies in 2 years. I was in survival mode. Me and my kids were homeless. We were living in hotels. I was selling drugs. I finally realized that I wanted something different. Like there was just something that happened within me that clicked. It's like, I want a different life. The one thing I did get from House of Hope the first time is I knew where to go if I did want to get help. When I was in treatment, I learned how to laugh. So I lived with a whole bunch of women in a house. We had like 15 kids that were in our house, and we're all trying to parent sober, brand new. We don't know what we're doing. But we were sitting in the kitchen one night trying to cook something, and I just started busting up laughing, like tears in my eyes, laughing. And I remember laying in bed that night like, this is what happiness feels like. I can't believe I've never felt that, or I didn't remember feeling it. It taught me how to be accountable. It taught me how to live a life that I didn't know was possible. Staff believing in you was one of the first times I've ever experienced something like that. House of Hope helped create the person I am today, and so it's really cool to be on the other side of it. I've had a goal since I've been sober and working in this field that I would go back to work for every agency that ever helped me on my journey, and House of Hope was my last one. My whole job with DCFS was to assist the parents through the DCFS process, and my office was actually in the same DCFS office that took my kids. I started there, parents with lived experience, so now all the DCFS offices around Salt Lake now have somebody working in their office specifically with that background. I sit on multiple different committees throughout Utah and on the national level, and they pay me to come speak to them. So we go to these different conferences and speak on our lived experience and how other organizations can implement using lived experience in their work. It's crazy. The top of the DCFS chain that I'm in regular contact with, asking me advice, going to the jail to speak and not to be booked in is a very cool feeling. My daughter's 17 and my son's 15. My daughter graduated a year early from high school. She got accepted with a full ride scholarship to Southern Utah University, and she's going to be a business accountant to get her degree. My son is Cordell, and he's 15. He plays football for high school. He has never been in trouble. They're both just really good kids. They're starting not even to remember what it was like in my addiction. For me growing up, I didn't know people could live a different life. My biggest goal for them is wanting them to know that they have choices. And so to be able to provide this for them now it's really cool. It's just crazy, the life I live now. Like, people come to me offering me jobs, all because of my experiences and how I've learned to use those manipulation skills for the good.